Okay. Many years ago, but not so long ago, there lived a teenage girl named Esther in the faraway country of Persia. In some ways, Esther was a typical teenage girl. She liked to send text messages to her friends. Well, actually, cell phones hadn't been invented yet, but she did like to talk nonstop. She liked to laugh and be silly. She liked to exercise and draw pictures. In many ways, Esther was a very typical teenage girl. She lived with her cousin Mordecai. Now, Mordecai was older than Esther. Much older. Much older. He was so much older that because Esther's parents had both died, he adopted her and she became his daughter. Mordecai was a very good father, and he taught Esther how to read, how to write, how to do math. He taught her how to cook, how to shoot a bow and arrow, how to shoot hoops, how to play tennis, or whatever sport they played in ancient Persia. But most of all, Mordecai taught Esther about God. They read the Bible together, and they prayed together. And all in all, Mordecai and Esther were very happy in the life they lived. Now, Mordecai and Esther weren't actually citizens of Persia. Their people were from Israel, and they were ruled by a foreign king. This king liked to throw big parties and drink and dance. But he was also kind of quirky, and he tended to lose his temper very easily. When he was angry, he would jump up and down and throw his crown in the air, and sometimes he would throw a tantrum on the ground like a bratty little kid. On the ground. Well, one day, this king got so angry at his wife, he fired her, and she couldn't be queen anymore. But then he realized he had to have a queen. So he wrote a letter. And he sent it out to the whole kingdom. He wanted to find the most beautiful girl in all the land to be his new queen, so many girls from all over were ordered to come to the palace to see which one the king would pick. Esther was one of the girls who was ordered to come to the palace, for she was very beautiful. Before she could meet the king, however, Esther was told to stand in front of a mirror and put on makeup and lotions. She was told to put on eyeliner and lipstick and perfume and curl her hair and put on deodorant. And she had to learn a new language.
Have you ever tried to conjugate Spanish Persian verbs?
She had to do these things for 12 months because, like we said, this king was kind of quirky. But when she finally got to meet the king, he immediately decided that he liked her the best, and he made her queen and put the crown on her head. Esther stayed in the palace after that, but she always remembered to live like Mordecai had taught her. Well, sometime later, the king heard that Mordecai's people, the Jews, weren't giving him the respect and worship he thought he deserved. And as he was prone to do, he got angry and threw a fit. A fit, okay. And then, at the advice of a very wicked friend, the king wrote a message and sent it to his whole kingdom. The message said that the Jews everywhere were to be killed. When Mordecai heard about the king's message, old Mordecai, he was very upset. And in those days, people showed how upset they were in different ways. First, he tore his clothes, and he put ashes on his head. And then he went all over town crying and moaning. finally, he got a hold of himself, and he realized that only one person could change the king's mind, Esther. So he wrote her a message, telling her that the king intended to kill all the Jews, and that Esther needed to be brave and ask the king to change his mind. Then he delivered the message to Esther. She read the message, she couldn't believe it. Esther didn't know what to do. She didn't want her people to be killed, but she knew the king had a very bad temper, and asking him to change his mind might make him angrier, and he might kill her for even asking. What should she do?